Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to part 7 of the Principles of Design series. So if you haven't watched my first 6 videos, then I would highly recommend you to go and check it out as well. In this video, we're going to talk about the last principle, the 7th principle of design. So without further ado, let's get started. So what are these 7 principles of design? We have principle of balance, principle of contrast, principle of hierarchy, principle of emphasis, principle of scale and proportion, principle of repetition, and principle of unity. So we have covered all the rest in my previous videos, and today we are going to look into principle of unity. So let us understand what exactly is principle of unity and what all it has to offer. So by definition, principle of unity is the harmony produced by all the elements in a design piece. So basically, how can you use all the design elements in your design so that they look as one single piece? They look a part of one single design language. Unity is the force operating within design that gives it appearance of oneness, togetherness, or one resolution. So what in a nutshell it means that your design elements, all the design elements that you have used should work and feel like a part of one singular system. They should not feel like something that has been placed randomly and out of sync. So unity dictates the overall harmony of all of your design elements. For example, using similar colors to match and integrate elements organically, so that they appear as a part of one single thing and not just something that you've put on together on a paper. So I'm taking an example here of Bumble, and if you see the Bumble app, the screenshots, wherever you go, you see this shade of yellow everywhere, and they have used this yellow very nicely. As soon as you open the Bumble app and you see this yellow accents everywhere, you'll immediately understand that this is the Bumble app because it's so unique, so well choreographed in the overall app screens that you can immediately understand that this is a Bumble screen. So they have used this yellow shade really nicely. If you see, from the UI elements to full screen elements to buttons to selection buttons to full screen splash screens, they have used everything and they have used this yellow color in a very nice way. So this is a simple example of how can you use just like a simple element like a color or typography to make sure that all of your design elements look as a part of one singular app. Okay. So this is a very nice example of principle of unity. So the next question is, how do you achieve unity? And you can achieve unity by making clear relationships between visual elements. You can find unity whenever you find clear organization, order, and elements of the pages are not fighting for the attention. So you have to make sure that if you want to achieve unity principle, if you want to harmonize your design, you have to make sure that not everything on your page is screaming for attention. All of them gets similar attention. All of them get subdued attention. They are not screaming for attention. And they should always work together to reinforce the overall branding of the app. So that's the way to achieve unity. You have to make sure that not a singular piece gets too much attention. Now, as a side effect of unity, I would say, if you use unity too much, it could make your design really mundane or dull, okay? Because it'll lack personality because everything is now subdued. Nothing is highlighted, right? So that's where you have to use other principles. You have to apply unity, but you have to use, let's say, contrast or emphasis to make sure that one element pops out, and that gives a really nice attention to the user that, okay, this is the place where I have to focus. So you have to use unity, but you don't have to use it too much. And if you're using unity, you have to use some other principles to make the actions on the page or makes the or whatever the main prime action on the page more visible, more clear to the user. So you have to use other principles to balance it out. So that's about principle of unity. Now let's quickly look into some live examples today. So I'll be using live examples to explain this. And the first thing that I want to do is start with an anti-example, not the exact example of unity, but I'll start with a negative example of unity. So let's look into that. So right now I'm on the Amazon app, and if you see, everything looks really cluttered off the bat if you just look into the app first. And there's so many things to do here, you don't know what to do exactly. You have options for shopping, you have options where you left off, you have options for grocery. On the same page, you have options for becoming a seller. On top of it, you have options for paying bills. Even the color palette, if you see, their accent color is yellow and they're using orange yellow as backgrounds, like too much on the face, right? If you see illustrations here, the illustrations looks really filled illustrations, simplistic ones. Whereas you see the illustrations here, they're using line icons here, right? So even the illustrations don't match together. Just looks like something that has been put all together on the web page, and that has been served to you. Everything is asking for an attention. If you see here, there's a prime video element. If you see, there's a travel element here, right? the overall treatment of all of these different images is also different. Something has a background, something doesn't have a background, then there's a deal, and then you again have these red markers that screams for attention, right? All of these things are just haphazardly put entirely on the page, I would say. Some random banner which is using a yellow background, right? So all of this, there is no cohesion in this entire design things. All of the elements are acting randomly, are acting out of the place. All of them are screaming for attention. There's no one focal point. There's no one quick CTA that I can do it here. There's everything on the page, and they're absolutely not following any sort of unity principle here. So this is a very simple example of how when you add too many items and you want everything to have attention, you will not have unity in your design. You will not have that harmony in your design. Now let's look into an example of where unity is used really well. So right now I'm on the Netflix app, and if you see, the app is first of all very well designed, I would say, and this is a dark theme version of the app. Now if you see, Netflix have a lot of shows and series, and they have put it down very well here. And every thumbnail, if you see, has like a similar structure. If you see, they have not written the text or the name of the series or the movie below using a UI. They have added the text directly onto the thumbnail. Even though the font of these thumbnails, if you see the font in these thumbnails, all of them have like a different thumbnail, but the treatment is similar. You will see the text always on the thumbnail, right? Even though the fonts are really different, if you see here, right? All the fonts are really different on all the thumbnails, but the treatment of them is always the same in all of these elements. You will find the name of the series or the movie directly on the thumbnail itself. That brings one of the unity principles, like everything has been treated the same way. The second thing, if you see, all of these images, right, they're not really bright images. They've been little subdued so that they matches the aesthetic of the dark themed app. So that's one more thing that they have done. So it's none of these different thumbnails is screaming out for attention, right? Only the thing that they want you to have attention is this bigger, bolder top section, the hero section, which has a playable video. And it also has a really clear-cut hierarchy where you have the clear-cut option to play the CTA. So unlike the Amazon web page, you know exactly what you want to do here. They're showing you the most popular one on top of it, right? So that gets a really high hierarchy, and you immediately know that it's the thing that you want to play. But apart from that, everything else has been treated the same way. All the thumbnails, same sizes, all of them, the hover action, the hover animation is exactly the same. They behave the same way, right? Wherever you go on the page, they behave the same way. So that's how Netflix have used Unity. So I hope you understood the principle of Unity. I think it's a really clear and simple principle. Just to summarize, principle of Unity states that how can you add harmony in your different design elements so that the entire design looks cohesive, the entire design looks as a part of one singular design system. So that's what principle of Unity is. And stay tuned for the last part. So this is not the last part. Stay tuned for the last part where I'll explain how to use this different principle, because now you have understood all the 7 principles. When you're designing something, which principles to use when is the main thing that is missing across the literature on the internet. So I'll be explaining that bit as well. So stay tuned for the last part. But yeah, till now, I hope you understood all the 7 principles. If you have any doubt, let me know in the comments and I'll be replying to them. And yeah, take care. Bye-bye. I'll see you in the last part.